This is your dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. Starting from humble beginnings, Nick has been beating the markets for over 2 decades. He shares with you his take on the profitable trades that will have you moving towards financial freedom in no time at all. To see an in-depth review of his track record and much more, go to inthemoneystocks.com.
Welcome. This is your daily dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. I'm Kerry Lutz. Today is 1/21/2021, and this is show number 192. Well, we had quite a rally yesterday, Nick, and I guess like all great rallies, you need to take a little breather after.
Yeah, that's generally what happens after you have a big rally like we saw yesterday. Generally, the next trading day, you'll have a little bit of a more subdued market. And that's exactly what we're seeing today. I don't see any real problems out here. So far, the trend is still up, and that's really all we need to know at this point in time. If something changes, we have to change with it. The one thing I will say is that earnings season is just beginning. It really kicked off on Friday with JP Morgan, but now we're starting to get a lot more companies reporting each and every day. So it's going to be important to see how some of these leading stocks react to their report. Today, we had a report from United Airlines. That didn't go so well. Obviously, the airline stocks have been pounded by the coronavirus pandemic, so that certainly has hurt them. But so I don't think anybody was expecting great numbers from the airlines, but sometimes Wall Street looks for miracles. And, right now, United's trading down over 5% today. So again, something to keep an eye out for. We'll be watching for levels there. But all in all, earnings season is underway, so you definitely want to be a little bit cautious getting into individual names ahead of the earnings announcements.
Caution is the byword, right?
Always, especially ahead of, an earnings announcement, because these stocks can move big in either direction. 5-10% moves are not uncommon during earnings season.
Nick, when I look back, we expected the whole fallout from the pandemic to be over long ago. And this is just an incident where politics really does trump reality,
Yeah, it's well said, Kerry. And you know how we feel about it, how I feel personally. I just think it's absolutely asinine, ridiculous that this is still a country where we have lockdowns and things like that going on. At this stage of the game, you would think they would open up, but now you just don't know what you're going to get. Obviously, you're going to get new strains. Every virus has a new strain. Look at the flu. You get a flu shot only to find out that wasn't the correct shot for the flu that's out that year. So, this is what we're going to be dealing with. And now you got vaccines. The next thing you know, I saw a Moderna article where you're going to need a booster every year. I mean, you could just see the writing on the wall where this is going. Unfortunately, this is the state of affairs we're in. This is the political scene we're in. And I guess we just have to live with it.
Yeah, I guess we do. But by all rights, this thing should have economically been over long, long ago. And the fact that it's not now is really, and I'm speaking as somebody who got it, who had COVID, who survived it like 99.7% of the people out there do. And yet we still have these lockdowns. Although now the lockdown states are saying, we need to really get our economy going as quickly as possible now that political season is over. And I don't want to get into big commentaries here. It's just to say that I suffered the worst of the coronavirus. It wasn't pleasant. I don't wish it on anyone, or at least not too many people. And you know what? I survived it, and life goes on. I'm back. I could have easily just filed a disability claim for the next 6 months. I mean, I probably was entitled to do that, but I didn't want to do it. Not my thing. And then to look and see all the spending, all the stimulus, everything else, they still can't come to terms with it. It's just a bit disheartening, especially when I look at things like the travel sector, the airlines, the hotels. They should have been reopened long ago, and business should be getting back to normal. I can understand there's a lot of people that don't want to leave, don't want to get exposed. Fine, don't. But the people who do should be able to if they determine that it's in their own best interest to do it. Anyway, enough of that. So alternative energy stocks been on fire, and what's going on with this Plug Power? I mean, it just seems to me like another solar energy stock from 40 years ago.
Well, the irony of it is if you just go back to the month of, say, July or even August, Plug Power was a stock that was under $10. Now, the stock just recently went above $70. Today, it's having another big day up, 3%. Just rather remarkable. But you could see the shift now as Joe Biden has become the president. That's where the opportunities are. That's where everybody's trying to throw their money in. But I would have one warning for everybody. These stocks are parabolic. They're overbought. I wouldn't touch them at this point in time with a 10-foot pole.
And a lot of them are garbage. Let's go back when he was the vice president. Remember that little company called Solyndra? And they were like boondoggle after boondoggle, scam after scam of these alternative energy stocks. It's only going to get worse now because whatever financial or fiscal discipline the Congress had back then, 12 years ago, they have even less now. There's no incentive to save any money. It's just throw money wherever it's going to yield you the greatest political benefits. And we'll see dozens, if not hundreds of Solyndras, because alternative energy is one of those things that, it's like motherhood and apple pie. It's up there, but the reality of it is something much more darker and devious. And the markets are going to get taught another lesson yet again, Nick.
Yeah, maybe then we could build back better.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to that day, probably just like you are. Hey, let's finally take a look at precious metals. They've had a nice run up over the past 3 or 4 days, and it looks like they too are taking a little breather.
Yeah, they're stalling out a little bit today. You have gold futures as we speak down about $2.50 right now, sitting at around 1864. Silver also today taking a little bit of a breather. Not a big deal out here with the precious metals. I think it's more of a pause than anything else. Again, as I said yesterday, and I've been saying, don't get too excited over the rallies and don't get too excited over the declines. We're just doing a lot of backing and filling right now.
Yeah, and I like that. Don't get too excited over the rallies or the declines because the ultimate target is still in place.
That's right. And until something changes, just sit tight and just understand this is the patterns and how they work themselves out. Right now, when you look at the precious metals, I think they're setting up very, very nicely down the road. But right now, we're still in that big consolidation pattern after that huge run up that we had into the August 2020 top. And when you get those patterns, they just take time.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time. That's it. And that is it for today. Make sure you go over to Nick's site, inthemoneystocks.com. Take a look at his trading record. The Twitter feeds are at ITMS, at Nick Santiago01, at Kerry Lutz. Make sure you send us your emails to kl@kerrylutz.com. Nick, we will pick up tomorrow.
Sounds good, Kerry. Thank you.
And so concludes another episode of Daily Market Wisdom with Master Trader Nick Santiago. Be sure to go to his website, inthemoneystocks.com. Don't forget the Twitter feeds at ITMS and at Nick Santiago01.